that. You sort of called out the Nuclear Waste Management Organization tonight based on a couple of questions. What's your concern with what's happening with them and the DGR?
I think I've raised the issue that the community is confused about the two projects that appear to be on the same timeline when they're clearly not. Obviously the DGR that OPG are promoting is going through the regulatory process right now. It's for a low and intermediate level waste, and so there's a clear regulatory process ongoing. I think the dialogue is really confused in the community right now, because while that's going on, the NWMO are talking to communities about the potential of hosting something that will happen some significant time in the future, and I just have a feeling that it'd be better if they didn't have that conversation while the OPG project's ongoing.
You mentioned, I'm sorry? You mentioned for them to hold off for a decade or so.
Yeah, well, if you remember, the NWMA project is called Adaptive Phase Management. The first part of the adaptive phase is to store spent fuel above ground for 100 years. So, I think that you can have a conversation with willing host communities, and then you can stop talking for a while. Especially when one of those communities you're talking about is one that's actively going through the licensing for a deep geological repository, which, no surprise, some community people think is one and the same.
Did you receive any response from the NWMO?
I had a meeting with the CEO of the NWMO in the office. He's been very good at communicating with me, I have to say. I've got a high regard for Ken. He came and spoke to me, and I told him my concerns, and then I put those same concerns in writing, and he agreed that he would take it to his board. So I haven't heard anything yet, but I'm sure he'll come back and talk to me. Obviously, he's got a lot of stakeholders to respond to, and as I said before, we don't have a seat at the table, but we are obviously more than an interested bystander.
Are DGRs a good idea?
Well, it's not as if the technology hasn't been tested before. There are places in the world that do have such facilities. So, the science is sound on them. But as I said, my issue is more about the nature of the community dialogue that's going on right now, rather than questioning the science.